It used to be that an edited Wikipedia page was the only thing to trip you up on the internet when trying to corroborate a story. Remember those times? Nowadays, there's a seemingly endless number of websites to fill your head with nonsense. And to think, the internet's only been around for 3,000 years. Well, I mean, that's what I've read anyway. Welcome back to The Binger, guys, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about some of our favorite Disney urban legends. We've plumbed the depths of said World Wide Web and pulled out some of the most interesting things relating to the facts, fiction, and farcities of Disney movies. But are they true? Well, we'll let you decide. We're just here to present the facts, if you can call them that. The Little Mermaid, a surprisingly deep treasure trove of not-so-innocent references and faux pas. According to online rumors, perhaps the most famous one, however, takes place at the wedding of Eric and Vanessa, which is Ursula in disguise. The story goes that Eric and Vanessa are standing side by side about to get married. The priest who is carrying out the ceremony appears to be a little too happy for them, shall we say. From specific angles, a distinctive bulge can be seen in his pants, which leads many to suggest that the priest was having a very, very good time. In fact, it's said that there was a lawsuit involved, with one woman complaining to Disney that the movie and its revealing scene was inappropriate for children. Many people were quick to jump to the priest's defense, however, stating that it's actually his knee that we see in the movie, not his, And you can see where they're coming from when you see a different angle clearly showing his sticky, howdy, knobbly knees. But that didn't stop Disney from covering their backs, just in case, editing out the bulge in later releases of the movie. And this isn't the only seemingly inappropriate imagery related to the movie. I mean, just look at the poster. Apparently, this rather noticeable shape was added by a disgruntled Disney employee who was about to get fired, although that story has also been disputed. This is one of those you've got to be looking for it kind of stories. And it revolves around Aladdin apparently asking Jasmine, or teenagers in general, to take their clothes off. Hang on, we have evidence. Kinda. In the scene where Aladdin appears on Jasmine's balcony to charm her as Prince Ali, Jasmine's pet tiger Raja backs Aladdin into a corner, resulting in him shooing the tiger away. At this point, Aladdin can allegedly be heard saying, "Good teenagers take off their clothes."
Come on, good teenagers, take off clothes. Come on, good teenagers, take off clothes.
It's very subtle, but listen to it multiple times, and once you hear it, you won't be able to unhear it. Of course, Disney has denied the claims, instead saying that the aforementioned line is merely being misheard, with it actually reading, "Come on, good kitty, take off and go."
Come on, good teenagers, take off clothes.
And we see what they mean. Although some say that if you listen closely, it almost sounds like both lines are being spoken simultaneously, with a second voice seemingly whispering the taboo teenager line in the background. If only they had a genie to wish this one away. I'm sure we can each relate to at least one of the 7 dwarves in Snow White, or we at least get fun out of naming our friends after them. But if this popular urban legend is anything to go by, Disney didn't just intend for the 7 dwarves to be funny caricatures. Apparently, each of them represents a different stage relating to the recreational use of certain substances, the white powdery ones in particular.
Oh, gosh.
Each of the dwarf's personalities is said to allude to a specific symptom the product instills, such as dopey relating to elation or powerlessness, grumpy to mood swings, you get the idea. Some say that this stems from Walt Disney having an addiction himself, and naming the dwarfs accordingly to reflect different stages of his habit. However, this has been heavily disputed, and in fact, so has the acknowledgement of any recognized stage of addiction. There's always a running joke when watching animated characters. Why doesn't that bear wear pants? Why does that same bear wrap himself in a towel after showering? Anyway, with regards to Donald Duck, rumor has it that the animated character was banned in Finland for not wearing pants. Yeah, the legend goes that due to the animated character being nude, well, his bottom half anyway, he was deemed too risque for the Finnish public. Some also state that Donald's somewhat confusing relationship with Daisy was also a cause for the ban. The fact that they weren't married. It's said that some feared their unmarried relationship status might send mixed signals and set a bad example. However, contrary to all of that, the ban on Donald is widely believed to have been misconstrued and blown way out of proportion. Another story states that Donald wasn't actually banned from Finland, and instead libraries pulled Donald Duck comics from their shelves for budgeting reasons, which in turn started the aforementioned nudity heresy. I mean, come on, he is a cartoon duck. What's the big idea? The guys over at Disney love sneaking Easter eggs into their movies. It is a huge part of what makes Disney, Disney. Whether it's a Nemo Teddy in Monsters, Inc. or the carpet from The Shining and Toy Story, they've become their own little treasure hunt that encourage multiple viewings. One incredibly subtle, blink and you'll miss it Easter egg, however, surprised quite a few fans due to its adult nature. In one scene from The Lion King, Simba falls to the ground and kicks up some dust, which swirls off into the air and, so it would seem, spells out 3 little letters, S-E-X. It's about as blink and you'll miss it as they come, but you can clearly see 3 letters forming. Of course, fans were quick to criticize and romanticize about what these little letters could be. The aforementioned SEX being a popular whisper amongst the masses. It's been said, however, that the 3 letters are actually SFX, as in special effects, and they were put in the movie as a nod to Disney's special effects department. That would make more sense, we guess, but I mean, you've got to admit, that does make it lose some of its pizzazz. So we all know the story of Cinderella, right? Girl goes to the ball, girl loses glass slipper, Prince Charming finds girl, happily ever after. Well, have you ever heard of the version where Cinderella loses her fur slipper? The folktale on which Cinderella is based upon dates way back, and over the years, it's been tweaked multiple times. In some versions, it's a ring, bracelet, or anklet that gets left behind in the ball. In others, it's a fur slipper. It was only after Charles Perrault's French version on the tale, however, that we got glass slippers, along with the pumpkin and the fairy godmother. And it's said that the reason we got glass instead of fur was purely down to mistranslation. So forgive me because I'm going to butcher this, but basically, fur slipper in French is pantoufle de verre, whereas glass slipper is pantoufle de verre. Both have very similar spellings and sounds, but many people disagree with this theory. It's also said that some artistic license was taken with the introduction of the glass slipper, a big part of it being the original and slightly rude connotations of the fur slipper. Plus, without the glass element, we wouldn't have had that dramatic moment in the Disney movie where the glass slipper smashes. Tink is one of the most flamboyant and loud characters in all of Disney, and yet she never says a word. Through elaborate pantomime and a scrunched up face, we quickly learn that the fairy is a determined, short-tempered, lively little character. So it's fair to say coming up with Tinkerbell's appearance in pre-production was a big deal for Disney. But did Marilyn Monroe really serve as inspiration for the character's appearance? Well, given that Peter Pan came out in 1953, many assume that the appearance of Tink was based on the then up-and-coming starlet Marilyn Monroe. Around that time, Marilyn was making a name for herself in Hollywood and climbing up the pyramid of fame. And considering Monroe wasn't just a movie star, but an instantly recognizable fashion icon, it makes sense that Tink would be based on her, right? Well, some people certainly think so, but it's also been said that this was just a coincidence, given that at the time, Monroe wasn't exactly the colossal star that we know her to be now. Instead, it's said that model Margaret Carey was used as inspiration for the animated character, not Monroe. It's also interesting to note that, as with many Disney movies, Peter Pan suffered from production delays, so the appearance of Tinkerbell was likely agreed upon years before its release in 1953. Another reason why this urban legend may just be the result of a little pixie dust. Delving into Toy Story related theories is a bit like venturing into Sid's house. It's dangerous, annoying, frustrating, and terrifying territory. But one idea that has been blowing fans' minds for quite a while now is the thought that Andy's mom could be Jesse's former owner, Emily. In Toy Story 2, we were treated to the emotional flashback in which Jessie reveals that her owner, Emily, outgrew her years ago. The theory suggests that Andy's mom is that former owner. And what's the evidence to suggest that? The red cowboy hat. Andy is obsessed with Woody, right? So why wouldn't he have a hat similar to Woody's? Why would he be wearing a red cowboy hat? Unless it had some sort of sentimental value and was passed on from someone in his family. His mom, maybe? In the dramatic flashback with Emily, a red cowboy hat can be seen. of which matches Jesse's iconic hat. Fans suggest that this very hat was passed down from Andy's mom once Andy became interested in cowboys, which would make Andy's mom Emily. There's even tiny details to back it up, like the shadowed area on the hat that suggests a band has fallen off or been taken off at some point. That band being the only distinctive difference between Andy's and Jesse's hat. Also in this flashback, when Emily donates all of her cowboy-related toys in a box, the hat is nowhere to be seen. Curious indeed. Of all the entries on today's list, this is probably the most blatant and believable, with Disney specifically confirming that it is indeed true. Although due to its explicit nature, many still believe that it isn't. And it involves an image of a topless woman being visible for 2 frames in the 1977 movie, The Rescuers. At around the 38-minute mark, the image of a topless woman in a window can be seen in the background as Bianca and Bernard fly past it on the screen. Seems almost too obvious to be true, right? Well, the knowledge of the image was only really widespread after Disney announced a recall of 3.4 million copies of home video versions of the movie in 1999. Up until then, it wasn't common knowledge. But how did it end up in the movie in the first place? Disney claims that the image wasn't placed there by one of its animators, and instead it was added in post-production, allowing it to slip under the radar and end up on the screens of millions. So, what's your favorite Disney urban legend? Did we miss any of the big ones? Be sure to let us know in the comments section down below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to The Binger for more awesome videos like this. See you next time.